Hello everyone, it's Sonika here. In today's video, I'm gonna talk about 5 effective ways to deal with negative criticisms positively. Alright, so number 1, know that criticisms don't define who you are. Know that you're worthy, know that you're of value, and you are more than what the critics may say because they don't know you as well as you yourself do. So just stand your ground and know your worth. So my advice is to stay away from emotion and don't take that personally because what they say reflects back to them. It has nothing to do with you. And in order to stay away from emotion and to not take things personally, I want you to remember that life is actually a dream. You are a soul in a physical body and you are experiencing life on earth. So know that is the dream and you do have the power to design the life you want. And whatever happens right now is just a part of the dream where you don't have to take it too seriously because you still have more power, you have more control over that. So just relax and know that what they say doesn't define who you are. Number 2, take a step back and reflect from the critic's point of view. You may want to put yourself in the critic's shoes to really understand the motives behind what they say. It's a very great way to really differentiate between constructive and destructive criticism, which is very crucial in the process to help you define and identify about what pieces of advice to keep. This is a really great way to know that if they have good intention or if they have bad intention. So this is very easy to do. Just put yourself in someone else's shoes and you'll understand about that better, about the situation better. Alright, so think about this. If a dear friend of yours is doing what you're doing right now, what would you say to him or her? And why you're saying it? Where does it come from, really? Is what you're saying from love, indifference, or jealousy? So if it's from love, it's more likely that it's constructive. But if it's from indifference and jealousy, that could be really destructive and that could really hurt one's image. And as a wise person, we do not want to do that, right? So once you're able to differentiate between destructive and constructive criticisms, it's how you respond to them, right? So in order to respond to them, it's awesome to do. So if it's constructive, you could just thank the person for being honest with you and let them know that you appreciate it and you will take that into consideration. And that way, the critics may feel valued, may feel listened, and it would just stop there. Or maybe they would just give you some more, but that will just help you advance yourself and know that it has nothing to do with you, that it's their points of view actually. So you don't have to think too much about it. Just know that, okay, I'm gonna take that into consideration. I'm doing it or not, I don't know, but I'm just gonna take that into consideration, and if it's useful, I'm gonna use it, but if it's not, fine, I'm just gonna leave it behind. But for most of the times, they would just feel valued and listened, and it would just stop there, I think, because if you just try to give excuses, they would just try to give you even more. But if you stop there and would just say, okay, thank you for that, I would just consider, they will just feel valued, they feel listened, and they will just stop there. And one more thing is that whenever people give you constructive criticisms, they tend to advance you and they may forget about how you feel sometimes. They just forget about how you struggle with yourself. They do not know that you're doing so much at this point and they want to advance you. So you may feel the pressure, but however, know that, okay, I cannot do it right now, but I may do it in a few years if possible, or this or that, but you never know. But just that you would just take that into consideration, and that is the key. You may not be able to do it now, but trust me, you will be able to do it in the future. And that is why I told you that constructive criticism may guide you to where you have never thought possible, right? So for most of the time, it's not because you're not enough, but that they would just want to advance you. All right, so if it's destructive criticism, it's another thing. It's crazy about destructive criticisms. I just think that people who give people destructive criticisms are those who are really negative. They're unwise. They're battling with themselves for most of the time. I think they lack of that things, that they really criticize you over that one thing. Maybe you're so good at doing one thing and they lack of that, and in order to feel like praised, in order to feel superior to the others, they would just criticize the others so they feel superior, and the victims may feel inferior, right? So I think that it's about themselves, it's not you, and it's hard to really receive kind of negative destructive criticisms and not take it personally. But actually it's not personal, but it's hard, right? So I have a lesson to teach you right now, is that I have a great way to really deal with it. So just train yourself into thinking that whenever people give you those kind of negative or destructive criticisms and you feel like, oh, you feel hurt, train yourself to thinking that they lack that themselves and you're worthy, because you're lucky enough to have that point for them to really criticize, and they don't have it at all. They just criticize you to feel superior about themselves, and know that you're lucky enough to have it. You are just valued, you are worthy, you are admired, that they would just say those things to you, because if you don't have those things, they would not just bother talking about that, right? So it's about you being so worthy, being so powerful, influential, being so good that they can't ignore you, right? Just that they are negative people and they would just do something else to hurt your self-image. Alright, so number 3 is about you asking yourself, what can I learn from it? So life's always teaching you, and the fact that you encounter such situation, maybe it's time to learn about something else. It could be emotional intelligence, or if you already know a lot about it, maybe it's time to practice a little more. It's all about you improving and improving all the time. If you feel so normal when people criticize you, it means that you reach a point where you master the emotional intelligence. If not, you might have to learn a little more and practice a little more. Number 4, accept that nobody's perfect and you're not perfect, right? So if you're perfect, then you're nobody, right? So it's all about knowing that nobody's perfect, and we cannot do so many things all at once, and we cannot please everybody all at once. You cannot please everybody, just remember that. And that is why business does have target customers. If they're not your target people, they're not your mastermind group, just don't listen to them, because they do not understand you. They're not at the same page as you. They do not know what you're doing, so their criticisms don't serve so well as those who really know you. So that is the key. Alright, so our last tip is so magical. It's all about converting your hurtful feelings into burning passions and desires. So it's very important that you are able to convert the feeling, and if you are able to do that, you are stronger than anybody else. So how? So I would just want you to acknowledge how you feel. So for most of the time, it could be the feeling of sadness and anger. If people criticize you, you could feel it that way, and you just acknowledge how you really feel. It could be the sadness plus anger, and you know that alright, it's there. So as I always mention in my previous videos, I always convert my feeling into love, but this time it's a little bit different because we're gonna convert it into the passion, into the desire that really drive you to more success and achievements. Alright, so you can do this by just simply acknowledge how you feel, and you just have to love the feeling so deeply, so passionately, with the intention that you have to succeed for sure. And it's a must. You feel it and you know that it is a success, that you could really achieve it. And this is the key to really add the fuel to your burning passion and fire. So this is really awesome to do. Alright, so these are the 5 tips that I wanted to share with you today, and please let me know down below which were your favorites in dealing with criticisms positively. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and see you guys in the next one. Bye!